Hi everybody, this is Jakub from qoliber. Today I have a very special guest with me, Peter Blaakmeer from Magentos. So I don't think Peter needs an introduction. He's almost a celebrity in our Magento ecosystem. But if anybody's, for some reason, don't know Peter, Peter should tell a few words about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Jacob. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my name is Peter Jaap. Work for elgentos in Groningen, Magento agency since 15 years now. Yeah, we do development only with a focus on B2B Magento stores. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, Peter, I invited you today because I would like to talk, well, basically about what everybody's talking about. It's AI, but I would like to focus on using artificial intelligence or generative artificial intelligence in the development process. So what are your thoughts on vibe coding, but also what do you think about the more specifics or term I prefer to use, AI-assisted engineering?
Yeah. So I think in essence, this is about a definition war. So what is the definition of vibe coding, and what do you feel that the definition of vibe coding is? So I personally feel like vibe coding is a bit of a derogatory term. It's used by old school programmers to designate the people that do coding but don't really know any of the theory and practices behind it. That said, yep, if you work from that definition, then vibe coding is basically firing up any LLM, be it Cloud Code or Codex or even stuff like Lovable or V0 or Kilo Code or you name it, and then build something without any actually knowledge of the code, but having an idea and have the AI generate the code for you, and then having it magically work. And that's it's gotten way better in the past year, and many people say that there's been some kind of inflection point in December with a lot of AI tooling internally using agents as well. So if you compare that to AI assisted coding, and I think where AI assisted coding really shines is where an old school developer uses AI to enhance their game, be it planning wise, architecturally, generating boilerplate code, writing tests, writing documentation. I think those are the easy levers. And eventually you'll have the hard part doing the business logic with AI. And I think that's the hardest part. And that's also the part where it does not really shine yet, especially in large legacy applications such as Magento. But yeah, vibe coding is, if you take the term vibe coding and you mean by it creating an application without like yourself touching any code, it's great for prototyping, MVP, first versions. But if you want to take it a step further, like production grade applications, for like large scale applications, I mean, if you're going to build some kind of PDF conversion tool or whatever, probably that's going to be production grade, and it's not going to be that hard. But if you're going to create like larger SaaS businesses or frameworks of any kind, then it'll give you a first version, and then you'll have to really dig in and go further with that with actual developers. And I don't think AI is there yet, or ever will be. Yeah, so I love Vercel for naming their code generation platform V0, because that's basically what it is. Also with Lovable, you create a V0. It's a prototype. It's the MVP. It's the first version, but it probably won't scale. It's probably not hardened, so it'll have security implications, and architecturally it might not be set up in the best way for you to expand on it later on. So that's yeah, some general thoughts on it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I do believe that we'll get there eventually. I myself give it maybe 2-3 years that AI will be able to actually create like a production ready applications. But I think we need like a 10 million context window, 50 million context window.
Yeah. context windows are the limiting factor in all of this right now. Yeah.
That's what I want. So, for example, Magento, just out of personal curiosity, I try to change things using Cloud Code, using Sonnet 1 million token approach. And then with ChatGPT, it's basically getting lost and repeating all over the same mistakes. So platforms that are, you could say, legacy, with a huge code base, I think you need skilled and qualified engineers to actually fix them. Or improve them. But yeah, we are getting to thing I really want to talk to you about. What do you think with junior developers and with AI assisted coding? Because in my opinion, for example, I myself can do the same thing that a junior developer can with AI in 5-10 minutes, what a junior developer would take, I don't know, a week or at least a couple of days. But I don't want to talk about hiring junior developers, but should they be given access to AI in terms learn how to code, or will they just remain vibe coders without any understanding of the software fundamentals?
Yeah, it depends on what your goal is, and what your company is, and what your what your outset is with hiring a junior developer right now. Let's say you're application developer, just custom built applications, usually Laravel, greenfield projects from scratch. I mean, if you're going to hire a junior developer doing that, just vibe coding in Laravel, and they have some basic understanding of PHP and software architecture, they can probably do now what a meteor or senior developer did a few years ago without the help of AI. So in that case, you gain real value because the junior developer is cheaper. You can build it faster, so you get a lot more value for money. However, I do feel that right now the gains are fairly large, but we're all part of a rising tide where the complexity rises, the speed at which we can build it in AI rises. So the baseline of what we feel right now is an adequate application, it's production grade ready, will also rise. So right now, junior developers using AI or even vibe coding can get there quite far. But in 2 years' time or 3 years' time, it might be a situation where the added complexity has outgrown the rate of improvements in the AI models, where a junior developer who hasn't invested time in their knowledge might be lagging in their own knowledge, and the architectural landscape has become more complex, and AI could not keep up. For example, this is a scenario. I'm not saying this is going to be true, but this might be a scenario. So that's for from scratch application development. But if you, like us, work in a legacy environment with large code bases that have been around for 10 plus years, without knowing all this history, and then having AI with a limited context window grope around in it, that's the output of the AI will not be something that a junior developer might be able to work with without having any in-depth knowledge about the framework itself. So in that case, you'll need meteor or senior developers to do the AI-assisted coding, also to chunk it up into pieces that the context window can take. Because you can't just dump Magento and all third-party tooling, because that's with Magento, obviously, oftentimes the case where you have an ERP and you have an accountancy system and you have some kind of caching engine, or you have all these parts around the Magento core, which the AI then also should know about with all those intricacies and implementation details. So there's, and as well with the rising tide, will the context window grow for AI as much as the complexity does? Because if the complexity rises faster than the context window will grow, then we're going to have to chunk it even more. And that's where the human operator comes into play, where the human in the loop should orchestrate all these different parts and splits it up into smaller context windows and then rejoin it back together. And that's going to be hard if you're a junior developer. So yeah, if you're not a junior developer that invests in their own knowledge, how do you then become a media or a senior developer? And I think that's that's a tough nut to crack for a lot of companies right now. What do you do? So let's get back to your initial question. What do you do with your junior developer? Do you give it AI or not? Personally, I would not allow. I would love to not allow them to use AI and see how far they get. And right now, that's still feasible. A lot of companies still aren't using AI, so that's definitely a way to go. But I worry that in a few years' time, AI has become so omnipresent that there's no real way to do it, and then it's all about managing the junior developers when to use AI. Are you going to use AI to teach me the framework, or are you just going to use AI to generate code and commit it and never look at it? So I think the workflow for junior developers will eventually become think of it architecturally, write it out, prompt design, have the AI explain the output code to you bit by bit. So basically, AI should have like a junior mode, where instead of giving you the code, it will give you the code and also explain the code to you. Whereas for us as senior developers, you could just give the code and we don't need the explanation.
Or maybe just like even like a small add-on. So after it explained you the code, you have to pass a quiz in order for the code to be committed.
That would be perfect, yeah. And then if you pass the quiz 5 times, then it will give you just the code without the quiz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're laughing, but this could be.
This actually makes sense, right?
Yeah. This could be a whole business.
Peter,
yeah.
PJ, we only have 3 minutes left, so let me ask you the final question. Recently, the CEO of NVIDIA said that he doesn't want developers to write the code, but solve problems. Do you think we'll ever get there? Like, so AI will be able to completely write the code, people just check it, and and just use it?
I think for a majority of cases we'll get there, yes. I mean, software development is notoriously hard, but we don't all have to write really or code that fixes really hard problems. So one interesting thought I read on MageChat a few days ago was, are we going to get rid of high-level languages? Because eventually AI will be able to only write low-level languages. I mean, the whole reason why high-level languages like Python and PHP exist is so we don't have to tediously write all the assembly. So if you just cut out the middleman and don't write PHP or Python or Rust anymore, but just have the AI write WebAssembly, that's
let's not go there.
No, let's not go. But it's a great thought experiment where you could say, well, why wouldn't we do that? Well, because it's going to be hard to maintain when the AI trips up because nobody knows WebAssembly anymore.
That's true.
I think that's the same principle. So will we eventually get there? For a large part, yes, but you'll still need an escape hatch where if something goes wrong, you want to dive into the code yourself because you can't fully trust AI and you will never be able to fully trust AI. So we'll still need some kind of control or check mechanism in there, the human in the loop.
Great. All right, Peter, thank you for joining me on this short podcast. I hope to see you again, maybe on a different topic. Maybe we'll continue this AI discussions because there's a lot of areas to cover. So thanks for being here. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thanks
and
for
Peter, any last thoughts for everybody?
Last words? Not really. Just I don't know. Try AI and see how far you get, and keep honing your own skills.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and see you on the next one. Thanks, Peter.
Yeah.